You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations! Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations! Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations! Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations! Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.
I'm from Singapore.
From Vietnam.
AWS User Group Thailand.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I run the user group in Singapore as a community hero.
I'm an AWS community builder.
I love AWS community.
Go AWS.
I'm so proud that all the group members are very proactive to support each other.
I'm really passionate about making artificial intelligence and machine learning more accessible.
I'm also one of the AWS machine learning heroes around the world.
It's a global, positive and diverse community.
ผมเป็น Amazon Web Service Community Hero ประจำประเทศไทยนะครับ
The love of the technology and the friendship in the community.
Go AWS.
All right. Good evening, everyone. To everyone watching us on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn, good evening. I'm Andresito de Guzman, the community lead at PWA Pilipinas. Before we begin, I'll be sharing to you our community, PWA Pilipinas. All right. So, we are PWA Pilipinas. We are a community for makers, designers, and users of progressive web apps here in the Philippines. Our mission is to introduce and nurture progressive web apps development and adoption here in the Philippines and beyond by actually fostering a community for subject matter experts, enthusiasts, adopters, and developers of the platform by actually providing resources and engagement just like this one to stimulate interest in progressive web apps, because our vision is that progressive web apps would be adopted widely here in the Philippines and probably worldwide. All right, so as a community and as an organization, we have different events that you can attend. We have our meetups where you can network with the community. We have our live stream just like this, which are broadcasted live. We also have workshops where we have hands-on activities, and we have special events like Hacktoberfest and Introduction to Progressive Web Apps, where you could actually learn about progressive web apps. Right, so where can you find us? Let me move this a little bit better. We're on Facebook, we're on Facebook groups, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, LinkedIn. We even have our own app where you can get an e-certificate by registering to our event. All right. And if you wanted to share your knowledge or your love for PWA, web, cloud, right, serverless, and you want to share it to our community, you may submit your proposals at sessionice.com/PWA Pilipinas. And if you actually built your own PWA and you wanted to show it to the world, we have a showcase where you could actually submit your projects. Just visit showcase.pwapilipinas.org. All right. As mentioned, we provide e-certificates for our live events. Just make sure to check in now. So before we proceed to our talk, I'll just demo to you how it actually works. All right. Let me share my screen. All right, it's this one. Okay. So for example, you just have to open our web app, app.pwpilipinas.org. Make sure that you're registered. Look for the event page and just click check-in. So it would check you in to our event, and once that's done, well, actually you could do this later, but you could download your certificate. While our magical cat does it, you can already download your certificate. That quick, that easy, right? So yeah, all right. So if you have questions, just email us at hi@pwpilipinas.org if you have questions about that. All right, and of course, as a reminder, PWA Pilipinas is a safe space. Make sure to read, understand, and follow our code of conduct. That's available at pwpilipinas.org/code-of-conduct. So yeah, and in celebration of Women's Month, PWA Pilipinas actually donated period kits to our friends at UP Sigma Alpha Sorority Los Baños chapter. So the period kit giving happened yesterday. So you would see publicities or photos of that period kit giving very soon. But actually, thanks for UP Sigma Alpha Sorority for this initiative. We really appreciate it. So yeah. All right. So let's not wait any longer. I'll be introducing to you our speaker for this evening. So our speaker is the managing director at Pulse 633 Healthcare Ventures. He's also the CEO and co-founder at Have, a platform rewarding healthier life with 1 million+ downloads. Our speaker is also a venture partner at SeedStars and multiple other VCs, and also the ex-CFO and chief business officer at Shipper in Indonesia. Let's welcome at PWA Pilipinas Live, Abdul. Hi, Sir Abdul.
Hi, Andre. Thanks a ton.
All right. So feel free to share your screen. If,
Sure. No, I don't have a screen because I
All right.
keep it super informal that way and kind of share my
All right.
learnings and opportunities that we have kind of from a PWA perspective in the healthcare space, right? But I'll take a
All right.
few minutes to quickly introduce what Pulse 63 is. For everyone's knowledge, Pulse 63 Healthcare Ventures is a Philippines-focused, healthcare-focused venture builder, accelerator, and a fund. That means our job is to build more and more healthcare startups to focus on problems in the healthcare ecosystem in the Philippines. Now, I was super surprised to see about the event about the sanitary napkins being distributed yesterday, and one of the companies mentioned in that, Kindred, happens to be a portfolio company of Pulse 63. We do have a few more portfolio companies, and all of them are solving some real problems within the healthcare space in the Philippines. Now, why Philippines? Why healthcare is a super important question, and I'll kind of give a high level perspective on how we think about it. Right. The first is I think Philippines has uh, enough domestic demand. It's 100+ million people here, across different incomes, across different geographies. So it's a domestic large market. So it makes it super important for anyone to solve for this country directly and focusing on this country itself. The second piece is the fact that if you do build anything from the Philippines, it's probably a lot more easier for that startup or that solution to become global because of the fact that all of us in the Philippines speak good English, right? And we do have reasonably good connects to the West and the East, which means we could kind of spread it both ways as a solution. The other thing is generally Philippines lacks in terms of healthcare infrastructure, resources, all of those. It's not lacking, but the fact is that you do have great talent, which kind of gets moved out of the country for whatever purposes or reasons, and that means resources in Philippines is not as much as it should be, and that's probably similar to what it is in terms of the infrastructure, right? If you go into remote cities of the country, you don't have the right patients to bed ratio, uh, the bed to patient ratio, bed to population ratio. And it's not just the remote parts of the country, but also Philippines in general, across Metro Manila as well, right? You compare it to average of Southeast Asia, you compare it to the average of Malaysia, any other nearby countries, and that's pretty similar in terms of being the delta. So you would always be on the lower end, unfortunately. So Philippines and healthcare needs a lot more companies, a lot more innovation to kind of catch up to global standards, and it's a problem that we kind of realized about 2 years back, and the team at Pulse 63 is here to solve for it. Now, how do we kind of solve for it? I think first was we needed to bring together a team that was really focused on solving this. So we do have four partners along with me. One of them used to be the co-founder and CEO of Zalora Philippines. Apart from that, we have Abatina, who used to be the managing partner at who runs EquiLife, which is one of the largest healthcare equipments and devices distributed to hospitals and clinics across the country, apart from two other people who come in with expertise in terms of strategy and operational capability, right? So it's a team that we have put together. We're backed by two investors, institutional investors, Kaya Founders and Foxmont, which are two prominent VCs in the country. And then we're backed by entrepreneurs and professionals who work at leading companies across the country coming together for this cause. So what we do is we build multiple companies. Now, given the fact that I've kind of put across on what I think is the challenge in general in Philippines and healthcare and how we intend to solve, the way we think about this is what is the current scenario, right? How could we use technology to improve access, affordability, and improve healthcare outcomes in the country? One thing is very evident here. Today, if you walk into a clinic or you walk into a local health center, you would see a lot of documentation happening with pen and paper. That's it, right? It's not as much system based. And so what we're trying to say is today, if you are trying to build a tech solution, you don't have to be the best on earth. You don't have to build sophisticated features. What you just need to do is build what is better, what improves efficiency versus what today people use as paper and pen. And the fact that your entry barrier, or you're trying to replace something as basic as a pen and paper, makes it more easier for technology related or technology enabled solutions to be kind of uh, adopted, and replacing the paper and pen, which lack, obviously does not enable real time information transmission, all of those, right? So what we're trying to say is, because of the fact that you're competing against pen and paper versus other uh, SaaS products, whether versus other mobile apps, it's a lot more easier. And because of that, what you do need is solutions that can be deployed fast enough in a capital efficient manner, right? And that's where PW is super, super critical. And we think there's a lot of use cases across healthcare where PWA uh, can kind of enable faster deployment, faster validation. And that's why we would love to partner with the community in any format and shape possible, right? Let's take an example now, right? Like today, it might be very difficult for someone to kind of know what are the price points across different diagnostic labs for a blood test. There's no single place where you can kind of have that information. You don't necessarily need to build complex mobile apps for that, right? What you could do is build use the PW approach, get a lot of diagnostic labs across cities, across country, share their data, get it listed on board, and allow for a Calendly integration where somebody could book an appointment, right, with these clinics for a lab test or for a blood test, right? So it's as simple as that, right? And similarly, there are multiple other use cases. So what we think is PWA as a solution is a great way to kind of fast track healthcare access affordability in the country. And that is how we think is the right approach. So, taking a step back, even at Pulse 63, when we build ventures very similar to what we did with Kindred and other ventures, what we do is, how do you kind of not take the 6 to 9 months, 6 to 12 months long tech development process to build a mobile app? Is there an easier way to build it? Because at the end of the day, as I said, you don't have to be deep tech, you don't have to be tech heavy. It's about how do you get it faster, how do you validate it. And I think we have in multiple use cases ourselves use PWA as an approach, right? And that's how we think this is more and more relevant for the ecosystem. Now, given of all that, there are a few ways on how we think we could partner with the whole community at PWA Pilipinas. One of them is, if you think there is a problem statement within the healthcare space, which might be in Metro Manila, which might be in remote cities, and you think uh, you don't know how to solve it, but you do believe that there is a technology element involved, please reach out to us, and we would be more than happy to figure out the problem, understand the possible solutions, and kind of build along with you, right? Otherwise, if you already have a technology element built for a specific problem, let us know. We might be able to get you users, we might be able to get you validation for it, we might be able to connect you for funding to scale that model, right? Else, if you think you want to kind of improve your skill sets and just developing for different use cases, let us know. We might have some possibilities across Pulse or across Pulse's portfolio companies, and we would be more than happy to kind of connect you to them and allow you for a learning experience in real time use cases, right? So this is at a high level what we think. I do have a few more elements that I can talk about, but I did want to check if any one of you had any questions or any other observations. Happy to answer them before I kind of go ahead.
All right. If you have questions for that, you can comment it down below at our comment section. We will read it. but I believe they don't have questions as of the moment.
Perfect, perfect. So, all right, let's look at a few use cases right now, right? And I think the objective with this is allowing for anyone in the community to kind of look at their creative side of things and see if they could help us, if they could partner, if they have a better solution to fix it, right? So the first problem statement is, how do you kind of understand what what are the elements? So a lot of you would be covered under HMO benefits with your employers, or maybe even through your family members who work and they have dependent policies for HMOs, right? There could also be some of you who using Phil Health, right, to kind of pay for your expenses. Is there a way that we can build in a technology where you come in and say, this is the health condition that I have, this is the service or procedure that I need? It could be consultations, it could be surgery, it could be medication, whatever. And then you say, I have HMO from this service provider for this plan, or I'm part of the Phil Health. How much do I really need to pay, right? How do you make this information readily accessible, available to someone as a user, so that they can be prepared in terms of the financial outgoes when they go and do that procedure? That's just a basic use case. And as you can imagine, the availability of that specific information to user allows for them to be much more prepared. You don't want them to be stressed when they're going for a surgery. You don't want them to go with ambiguity. You would rather have them clear of that information and go for the procedure. That's just one basic use case. Now, if you wanted to deploy more to that, the other element that you could do is, after the after you've been given information on how much potentially would be your out of hand expenses for a specific procedure, you could be allowed to say, yes, you know what, I understand that this is a cost, but I don't think I can afford it. Is there a way that I can get any financing from a third party? It could be from banks in terms of personal loans. It could be solutions as care now, pay later, which is very similar to buy now, pay later, but allows for larger amounts for procedures. And then upload your KYC documents in there, get it sent out to all possible financiers and get an approval, right? It just eliminates one whole problem in the healthcare value chain. That's one potential use case. I can move on to the second potential use case, right? The second potential use case is where you come in and say, you know what, I am aware that this person is not behaving exactly the way he or she was behaving in the past few days. Is there a way that I can inform you that, and some of the health authorities could come in, get involved, and say, would they need any consultation or counseling services? Because people who might seem happy around you might be going through depression. People around you might be having suicidal thoughts. How do you kind of allow for crowdsourcing of that information and allow for authorities to kind of intervene at the right time? Because today, even if we felt that someone isn't feeling right, we may not be the best person to kind of handle for that situation, right? Or we might just be so busy with our life that we don't have the time. But if there was a possibility of saying that, I know this person doesn't seem to be doing good, unfortunately, is there a way that somebody could kind of get in touch and help this person? Or yeah, it could be multiple forms and shapes there. So I think there's a lot of possibilities in the mental wellness space, and probably reducing, again, depression related issues, suicidal thoughts, right? These are a few use cases that we think are relevant, and we could go on, right? But at the end of the day, what this means is, how do you bring in technology for solutions where it might be a larger social cost and less of a financial return possible, right? And financial returns may not be possible in a lot of these health related use cases. And the reason being very clearly the fact that some of them are not meant to be high contributors or high spending procedures, right? Like if somebody is having a suicidal thought, you kind of help save a life. what's the monetary value to it? It's priceless. But if you were to charge for a service, for a consulting, it would be probably 400, 500, 1,000 pesos. So it's not meaningfully large. But the fact is that you can kind of save someone's life is more critical. But then if you don't have a high impact financial return project, what you could do is take the PWA approach, and you will have a lot of corporates who would want to support the cause. And because of the fact that you're not high cost, high capex, any meaningful contribution from large corporates or families here in the country would actually be used in a real problem solving and not the tech side of it, right? So these are a few use cases. Would love to kind of leave it at that. Happy to answer any questions. At the end of the day, what we really believe is we would want to partner with as much folks in the PWA space, either to build ventures with us in Pulse 63 or help contribute to an existing venture where we can use technology to accelerate the whole process of improving affordability and accessibility in healthcare in the country. Doesn't have to be always solutions for Metro Manila. Remote parts, niche problems. There's tons and tons of problems in the country that we could fight it out and kind of control, given the right technology intervention, right?
All right. Um, if anyone has questions for our research speaker, feel free to comment them down. Um, any question? Though, probably I do have some questions as well. um, let's say, my idea is still isn't fully formed yet. Like, it's just very vague still. Can I already start reaching out to Pulse 63, or do I need to like have a solid pitch deck already?
No, I think we're happy to meet you for coffee. You don't need to have an idea. We'd love to meet people who are wanting to build, right? You don't necessarily need to know the problem. You don't necessarily need to know the solution. You don't need to have it documented, right? But what we need you to do is have enough passion to build, right? If you do have the passion to build and solve, come along. We can ideate with you, right? We can validate the problem with you. We can validate the solution with you. We could get it in the whole ecosystem to support us and get mentorship in the right direction, right? I think there's a notion that you need to be having a very formal conversation, documented conversation. No, that's not what we intend to be, right? Even happy to have your community come over to our office and spend some days there if they wanted to, right? Where they can come in and say, we don't have any clue what we want to build, right? Could I be talking to tons and tons of people and figure out what I want to really build, right? So you could use us as a whiteboard, honestly.
All right. So feel free to reach. Anyway, if they would like to reach out to Pulse 63, how would they do that?
Oh yeah, I can share my email ID over here. Uh, that's one way that you
All right.
could do that. The other way that you could do is you could be uh, going onto a website, which as well I'm going to share over here. Please feel free to go there, put in a put in a comment in our in the page, and we will reach out to you. Right? It could be as simple as saying hi, and we'll get back to you as well. Right? Yeah.
All right. Actually, the reason why I actually was so excited with this one, because actually at PWA Pilipinas, we're actually thinking of having a hackathon. Is Pulse 63 open to the idea of it? Because many of our community actually likes to be challenged in like a hackathon type where they would have mentors around, where they could like ask for help, and then like overnight they want to build solutions. Are you open to that idea?
Yes, we would love that, right? I think one is, I mean, and if it's in an in-person hackathon, we would love it, right? I think
Hmm.
that's where you would network, that's where you would learn a lot, and we will see some really good ideas and products coming out, hopefully, right? And I think generally, as I said, right, because you don't need to build complex solutions, you don't need to get into deep tech solutions. And because of the fact that's how it is, probably we will see a lot of good ideas coming out of a hackathon. So we are open for it.
All right, we'll definitely reach out for that. Um, Also, the thing about here, the local startup scene, is that many tech people wants to build, they know the tech side of it, but in terms of doing the entrepreneurship part is a little bit of a challenge for them. How would Pulse 63 help them fully turn their tech initiatives into like a full-fledged startup?
Right. So let's let's just take a step back, right? The way we build ventures at Pulse 63 is we look at problem statements or opportunities, right? So it could be as simple as you coming in saying, I think a lot of youngsters are smoking, and that could lead to death, that could lead to chronic conditions. It could be just a one line statement. Smoking is leading to healthcare concerns. We take that one line statement as a problem statement, and then we do a one page research along with you. That one page research is to understand, to quantify the problem statement, to say X amount of people start smoking at the age of 19 to 25, X amount of people die because of smoking related diseases, X amount of families get into financial crisis because of chronic conditions caused due to smoking. So we quantify the problem statement. We look at if there are any other companies or any other solutions solving for that problem. So we make a basic one pager, and if the problem looks meaningful enough, what we do is we move to an extensive research stage where we look at what is the regulatory side of it. Is there is there other companies that are doing well? What went wrong for them? What went right for them? And that's from a global standpoint, right? Because we want to see what solutions have been tried as of today, right? So we do a lot of those. We do a SWOT analysis. We size the market. We also try to see if we had a solution, how would that kind of result in terms of market size for us as a business, all of those. Once that extensive research is done, what we do is we build a list of hypotheses and assumptions. Now, let's take one hypothesis or assumption. It could be the fact that if people are willing to stop smoking or reduce the smoking phases by phases, if they had a financial reward for it, or if they were told of the financial impact, right? Maybe like, is there a way that I can tell a user each time they smoke, you spend 5 pesos today, right? Which could have gone into gold or which could have gone into a bank, right? Maybe that's the hypothesis. So you do list hypotheses and assumptions, and then we use user interviews, surveys to validate our assumptions, right? Once we have done all of those, we now know that this is a real problem. There is a solution that we potentially can look at, and then we build an MVP. Once we build the MVP, we would spend a few dollars. I wouldn't even say a few dollars. We would spend anything between 3,000 to 5,000 pesos on a Facebook ad and see, are people clicking through? Are we getting the right demand to validate the demand, and secondly the unit economics, right? Because if your customer acquisition cost is higher than the margins available in the business, it may not be sustainable. So we kind of validate the demand generation and the unit economics capabilities using MVP. Now, once that is done, we then say, okay, now this is good, we're in a good shape, let's give it more capital and then support it with the right skill sets that the existing person does not have. So somebody from your community who may not have the business side of capabilities, who may not have probably the marketing capabilities, we identify someone and say, hey, we like you. There's another person who's great at tech and product. There's an idea that's already validated. Why don't you come together and make this a business together, right? So that's the whole process that we follow, and that's how it would look like.
All right, I hope that actually helped many of our tech people that wanted to, get started. Um, Guys, if you have questions for our speaker, feel free to comment them down. Also, the email is right here. and their website. Um, Before we end this live stream, probably some advice or some words of encouragement, given that actually there are a lot of students, even young professionals, that wants to get into building their own ventures, but is really kind of still skeptical about it, given that there's not a the startup scene or the venture scene in the Philippines isn't still that mature.
I would say, given the fact that it isn't mature, this is the right place to build, right? If you were in an Indonesia or a Singapore, which has more mature startup market, it would be tough. You would probably be crushed, unfortunately, because there's people with significant amount of experience and probably significant amount of capital, right? So given that Philippines is a sweet spot for you to kind of start building out. The only thing is never be in love with your idea, right? Kind of always be open to feedbacks, receptive to feedback, iterate it as you build it, right? You don't know what you work. Never try to build a product and find a customer for it. Find a problem, see if that's a solution that you're willing to adopt, and then build on top of it. Else, what's going to happen is you'll be frustrated, unfortunately, right? But if you don't, you will still have moments of frustration, but you will still enjoy the whole process. So I think you're in a great market. Philippines is a great country to build. The right time, the ecosystem is here. I mean, it's not just Pulse 63. There's a lot of other players in the ecosystem that really want to support the community and have more ventures coming out. But don't be in love with your idea. Always be rational. Focus on things that come from your mind rather than things that come out of your heart.
All right, thank you for that words of encouragement to our community. Once again, thank you, Sir Abdul. And definitely, this is not the last time that we will see you in our community. Definitely would be reaching out for you for future initiatives on how we can improve healthcare with PWAs, right?
Awesome. We look forward to kind of partnering along and kind of building solutions that really solve the problems in the Philippines healthcare ecosystem. And a good job done as a team.
All right. Once again, thank you, Sir Abdul. And if you wanted to reach out to him, you may send him an email that's shown in your screen, or if you want to learn more about POS 63, the website is also there. All right. So let's read the shout out. This is from Matthew Bella. Hi. Just hearts, right? All right. So once again, I'm Abisito de Guzman, and thank you for your time, Sir Abdul. We still have lots of live events coming soon. Just make sure to visit app.pwapilipinas.org or check out our socials. I guess it's goodbye. It's good evening. Goodbye. Take care, everyone.
You've earned an AWS certification. Congratulations! Now what? Show your employer, colleagues, and your customers that you've met the bar set by AWS experts. Add your digital badge to your professional profiles and email signature to highlight your skills. Share it on your social feeds to celebrate with your network. And offer verification via email or on your resume. Cloud skills are in demand, and you have them. Share your AWS certified achievement today.